All right, folks. So in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about coaxial cable, mostly from a portable standpoint. And what I have here for illustrative purposes is a 25-foot piece of RG-8X. I like RG-8X for HF, and we're really going to mostly talk about HF communications here. Because it's relatively inexpensive, it performs reasonably well, and has reasonable loss. So here is a hank, I don't know what you want to call it, of cable that I'll typically use if I'm going to go somewhere, if I'm going to travel and use my radio outside my QTH. But you can see that this is big and bulky. It's pretty heavy, and it's a little bit cumbersome to transport. Like I'd have to throw this in a large portion of a backpack or a bag or a box or something along those lines. Like I said, I like this cable very much. I do have a PL, was it PL259? And then a BNC male connector on this particular cable. Now, some alternatives that I would use is that I did use this cable, and this is really going to be the focus, these two, of the video. And this is RG-74 cable, and you can see it's really small. Sometimes folks will refer to these as micro coax. It's super flexible, and you can see that right there. But with that flexibility, you do get a little bit of a trade-off where this is somewhat fragile. And this is about a 20-foot piece. So you can see that there's a significant difference in size. This cable does have a little bit more attenuation and has less power handling capabilities. And we'll talk about that as we go. It has a PVC jacket on there. So it is susceptible to getting pinched or crushed or bent too far. And maybe you'll have some problems with it. Really inexpensive cable though, and that was the big reason why I bought it. It was light and it was cheap, and I just have two BNC male connectors on here. Now this is another cable that I bought that I use this one pretty often, and this is a PTFE coated cable, and it is RG-316. Now this particular piece is 35 feet long, so I get a little bit more length, and it's still very lightweight, packable piece of coaxial cable. It's a little more durable, and they say it's actually crush resistant. So, it's still pretty flexible, but you can feel that there's some rigidity in this cable that this one does not have. So I like it quite a bit. It's from Pactena. I don't know if I mentioned that. And then this BNC cable here is actually at a right angle, which makes it really nice for coming off the back of your radio. One thing I'll mention is that a lot of folks will say that they don't like to use right angles for RF because it can introduce a little bit of interference or some loss there. I've never noticed anything, and I believe I did a video where I did an efficiency test on this cable, and it was pretty good. It's definitely one that I would recommend. If I was going portable and operating, I'd probably use this one over these two, just given the size, weight, constraints that are on there. But again, there are some power limitations here that you don't see on the RG-8X. So let's take a look at some of this other stuff that I want to share with you. All right, so let's talk about some of the key differences between RG-174 and RG-316. So your coaxial cable selection, it does play a pretty important role in your HF ham radio performance. RG-174 offers greater flexibility in a little bit of a smaller diameter, while 316 provides better durability, better power handling, and lower signal loss. So I would consider RG-316 a superior choice for longer cable runs with higher power applications. Understanding these key differences are going to help ham radio operators make better informed decisions when setting up or building out or choosing components for portable operations. So let's talk a little bit about power handling, which is pretty important when considering or selecting your coaxial cable. RG-316 has superior thermal properties, and it has a larger conductor, which means it supports significantly higher power levels compared to RG-174. Now, I looked all over the internet, and as you can imagine, different manufacturers make these cables. So what I would do is recommend that you look at the spec sheets when you buy this from the vendor that you are choosing to purchase from, because not all 316 and not all 174 is built the same and has the same specifications. Now, what I'll say is with RG-316, I don't have any problem pushing higher power, closer to 100 watts. Now, when I have a 100-watt radio, or if I'm using an amplifier with my QRP radio, what I don't do is run everything at full capacity. So if I have a 100-watt radio, I'm typically pushing out around 85 watts. I have a 50-watt amplifier that I use with my ICOM IC705, so it'd only be pushing about 50 watts. And I'm totally comfortable doing that with the RG-316. With the RG-174, I'm a little more cautious. I typically wouldn't exceed around 20 watts. And I would keep an eye on it. I would keep an eye on my SWR. I would keep an eye on heat. If I am using 20 watts FT8, probably in digital mode, you're probably better off closer to 10 watts. Now, like I said, I've seen all kinds of crazy recommendations all the way up to 350 watts on RG-174, and I just don't see that being something that is practical. If you need a cable for more moderate power transmission, RG-316 is going to be my recommendation. Another thing I want to talk about is attenuation and signal loss, and it plays a key role in HF radio performance as well. RG-316, with its high-quality materials, minimizes signal loss over distance, making it ideal for longer cable runs. Now keep in mind, the cables that I showed you were around 25 to 35 feet. Most of the time when we're operating portable, I don't see people running 100 feet of coaxial. It happens, so I'm not going to argue with anybody that says that's what they do. Great, God bless you. But in general, we tend to use a little bit shorter coaxial cable. The losses are pretty minimal between the 174 and 316, but we'll take a look at some charts. But again, these loss measurements are for specific manufacturers. I would again evaluate anything that you're looking to purchase with the spec sheet from the vendor you're choosing to purchase from. RG-174, though flexible, suffers from a slightly higher attenuation, and that can prevent some performance in sensitive radio applications. So here we have a couple of different loss charts that I got off of the internet. So I would take these with a little bit of a grain of salt. What you can see here is that the orange one on the left is a little bit more detailed and it has loss in this vertical column based off of megahertz. And then you can see the loss across the different types of cable. So what I want to pay attention to is this first one, RG-174. It says it's 6.6 dB of loss, 50 megahertz, which is above the HF band. I get it. If we come over here and we take a look at this chart, attenuation dB per 100 feet, both of these are for 100 feet. You see 174, and then we also have 316. The difference across the different frequency levels, it gets significant when you get higher up, but it's really only about a dB or so better with 316 than it is with 174. So if you're already going to buy the 316 based off of the durability and based off of the power handling, it really wouldn't matter much. You do have some loss in here, and I do want to mention that. So practical applications for HF ham radio, selecting the right coaxial cable depends upon the application and requirements, and one of those requirements is budget. For fixed HF stations requiring longer cable runs, RG-316 is a better choice due to its lower attenuation. However, for mobile or portable setups where flexibility is key, you may want to consider RG-174 if your power levels are going to be lower. The 174 might be a little bit more practical despite its higher signal loss. With the increased flexibility, it packs up into a smaller package. Additionally, environmental factors should be considered. RG-316 does offer better heat and wear resistance over time. So ultimately, the decision between 174 and 316 comes down to the balance of flexibility, power handling, signal loss, and cost. If performance is the top priority, then 316 is definitely the choice that you want to make due to its lower attenuation and better thermal properties. However, for mobile applications and situations requiring a compact, flexible cable, 174 remains a viable option. So it's really going to be up to you. Again, I like the 316. What I want to say now is thank you for watching. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, or recommendations, go ahead and post them below and I'll do my best to respond. As always, thanks for watching.